What's going on, guys? Bingo here, and I'm with the Duel Factory for episode 26 of X-2 Drop, our weekly Yu-Gi-Oh podcast we do, talking about anything and everything in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. And this was a huge week for the Yu-Gi-Oh TCG for a couple of reasons. It's basically when we start seeing how the meta is developed, but it was also the first weekend of the 2019 Gold Sark Megatins, which was huge. For anyone living under a rock, we got two TCG exclusive promos that are extremely impactful and one that will see a lot more experimentation once a format comes up for it. But the two that we were going to talk about mostly is Nibiru and the Primal Being and Dark Ruler No More, and how they shifted the meta so drastically from last week to this week. Because like you all know, we went to the St. Louis regional last weekend, and then we just went to a regional this past Saturday to see how the meta shaped up, and it was drastically different. So I'm gonna toss it over to Joe so he can talk, just say a couple of things, and we could get into this.
So, like you were saying, this weekend we had Nibiru, the Primal Being, and we had Dark Ruler No More, which were the two super high impact cards of the 2019 Megatens. Dimension Shifter is the third one, but it doesn't have its format yet. But for me personally, I saw people playing a lot of Nibiru, and for me, I don't think it's that effective against Salmon Great, but especially since I know a lot of decks are anticipating going second, one of the things, not going second, but going first or something like that, or something, a lot of experimentation I did was forcing my opponent to go first instead of me going first, and it actually threw a lot of people's hands off because they would draw like Nibiru and a bunch of other cards, and it would break their hands, and they didn't really have an opportune time to Nibiru. So,
Yeah. So I saw a lot of conversation about this. Is game 2 and game 3 like? Let's say you lost game 1, right, and you're going up against a deck like Salamangreat, who's highly likely to be siding that card. You can make them go first because if they combo, I mean, they're either choosing to do what their deck wants to do or kind of hold it so that they can activate that card without negging themselves too badly. So what that card did was I saw a ton of combo in the early rounds, but basically at the top tables, round 5, there was none. I was sitting at table 15, and basically the entire table that I could see was Orcus, Striker, and like that. Honestly, those are the only two things I could see. Oh, and Salamangreat.
yeah, I saw a couple Salamangreats. For Salamangreat, honestly, because that's what I played this weekend, and playing through Nibiru is honestly really, really easy. We were talking about this a little bit on the way back when we were heading back from Rosemont yesterday. I was talking about how like the main bread and butter play of Salamangreat now is, since we had so many cards hit to one, is that you rely a lot on resolving your Signet mining. And when you do that, you get to do your combo without actually normal summoning. So the best way to play it for me that I found was to play around Nibiru is a lot of the times when you're doing the combo, if you hold on to Foxy for when they do actually Nibiru, because a lot of people, when they side it in, they'll wait for you to get to the point where you're going to make your Sunlight Wolf and then they'll Nibiru because it takes a Stalio and everything out of your deck. But that was one of the reasons I also played to Jaguar, because it was the best card to discard off of Signet Mining. And then when that happens, what you end up doing is you normal summon the Foxy and get the advantage anyway. And then when you make your Banelinks out of the Foxy, you just summon the Jaguar, make the Sunlight Wolf anyway, and then you can get back the trap card or whatever card you sent. So as long as you have an idea of what you're doing, it's not hard to play around Nibiru. Now, like you were saying at the top tables, it was mainly like Striker. I saw quite a bit of True Draco, actually, which that matchup's really hard for me.
That was around.
Right, and then there were Salamangreat and Orcus. Orcus, to me, was the best deck to play. And I honestly wish I would have played it because it has the easiest time playing around Nibiru because your deck just does so much.
Yeah, and that's one thing, like, just the existence of these two cards put a lot of the bad matchups for Striker as well as Orcus just, like, basically on the back burner because especially Nibiru, is such a blowout against the Build-A-Board workshops that they can't play. Like, their deck does one thing going first and is combo the fuck off. Like, you're not going to end on a subpar board to play around that. Like, you can't even get to Ib half the time without summoning 5 times. Like, Ib's usually going to be summon number 3 or 4, depending on if your opponent has an interruption, right?
Yeah, it just depends at that point.
Yeah, you just can't play. You can't do what your deck wants to do, and just the existence of that. Basically, unless there's a way to make a monster negation that isn't hot red before 5 summons, like summoning in Pendulum, Jackal King, or Appaloosa, but like if you're making a 2 material Appaloosa, like you're probably at 5 summons right there. So I don't know. There's just no way to play that deck currently. Like, I'm sure eventually there will be a combo deck that can shit out a monster negation before 5 summons, and that's when combo is going to be like meta. Not that it's not meta, but you know what I mean.
I'll tell you one thing I did see a lot of this weekend, and I was talking about it to a couple of people, but because of Nibiru being out and Dark Ruler no more, what I personally think is what I saw is like a lot of poor siding choices. And what I mean by that is we'll use my round 2 example because this was the best version of poor siding that I saw. So I'm playing against an ABC Sky Striker player, or that's what we're going to call it because I'm not 100% sure what it was. I don't think John knew what it was either.
Yeah, no, I remember.
But you could tell his build's made for going second. He doesn't have a way to make Buster turn 1 because I don't think he's playing the gadgets or he's playing any sort of extender to let him do that. And his main deck can like hand traps and evenly matched, right? So his deck is just, beneficial for going second. So when I recognize that, if I were to drop a game or when I'm siding and stuff like that, I'm going to side for myself to go second and force him to go first, knowing that puts him at a disadvantage. Okay, that makes sense, right? So game 2, when I'm playing against this guy, and I tell him that he can go first, my thought was correct. He doesn't have any real back row cards, and he only has X amount of cards, and he sided a bunch of hand traps. And this kid was main decking Nibiru and stuff like that, and I got Nibiru'd, which, that happens, but because I forced him to go first, it wasn't as impactful because I had more cards to play with. Plus, like I said, if you open with Signet Mining, then you change the way your play is. Well, game 3... he gets to choose, and he's like, well, I'll go first. And I'm like, okay, that seems cool, whatever, Can't make Buster turn 1 or anything like that, but he keeps Nibiru in going first. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I saw, that was a common trend that I saw going across all the tables and stuff like that. Because, like I said, when you see new high impact cards like that and all the hype makes everyone go crazy, you see a lot of poor siding, and there was a lot of people who suffered from that, from poor siding choices. So,
yeah, on the drive back, I said it, and I think these 2 cards, they gave the general community, the semi-competitive guys that go to regionals, they gave them the same mindset of this card's insane, like I'm going to main it as Evenly Matched did. When it first came out, everybody they're like, I'm going to main deck this card. It's broken. But they have their purpose and they're really good at that. But that doesn't mean you should change your main deck for it unless that is the strategy, right? Like I was talking to a couple striker players who were maining Dark Ruler no more, but they were playing and going first version of the deck. So it didn't really make sense. Yes, they're very good and you should play around them if your deck loses to them and know how they can affect your board state, but that just because the card's really good doesn't mean you should main it. These are definitely side deck staples for consideration for the foreseeable future until, if any, get banned or whatever.
See, that's one of the things, like I said, I don't like about the game whenever we're playing and stuff like that and people and we get these new cards. It's just everyone's actual common sense and mindset just gets thrown out the window. And for some you can capitalize on it for sure, but there's just those random uncontrollable scenarios where that bad mindset puts them in a winning position and just puts you in a losing one. It's just the worst feeling. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So Nibiru, like, this card is just bananas when you think about it, right? Like, it attributes everything on the field. You get to special the token, so it's probably going to be in defense if it's on their turn, so they can't attack with it. And it just it's a reset button on the current board. But, like, I can't play that in Sky Striker. Like, it's not that great against Orcust. Like, it's okay against Salamangreat if they're not playing around it. But, like, just because it's extremely good doesn't mean it's always the answer. And that's what people are not considering. And it was just funny to see how many people were scrambling at the vendors to get this card. Like, I watched a vendor sell this card for $12.
Yeah, people were just buying into the hype. I saw No Limit doing it. I saw Top Cut doing it too. Like, I mean, you got to capitalize on those moments.
I mean,
and, like,
it makes sense. They had none. So when one came in, I'm sure they paid $3 for it, maybe, because they could flip it on the spot for 4 times the value. So one came in and somebody's like, I want that card, and it never even hit the case, right?
Never touched it, ever.
So
no, I'll tell you what.
Go ahead.
I saw a couple of I don't know if they did well, but I did see a couple Danger Thunder players. I saw some actually really cool tech against like knowing that their opponent had side-in numbers and stuff like that. When they're at the stage in their combo, when they get into their 5th summon, instead of like making like a Saryuja or something like that, because usually that's what it gets invested into. If they have a Dragon Extender, the popular one being Crusadia Draco after the 5th summon, because instead of making it, they make Appaloosa, and that played around it. And then there was a really cool play that I saw that they were playing the Fusion Trish after they made the Appaloosa. I'm trying to remember what that card's effect is, but
it's you banish a card from the top of your opponent's deck, your main deck, and one from your opponent's extra deck.
But yeah, I saw a lot of people playing that or doing that, and I thought that was a really cool tech because it was a really neat way to play around not Appaloosa, but play around Nibiru and stuff like that, and it blanked a lot of people's hands.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Appaloosa, to my knowledge, is the best counter to Nibiru. But I think the trade-off is you have to go into it with a 2 material, which, I mean, if you're a combo deck, you're going to set up protection or negation or 38. Like you're going to do something, and it gives you that safety net of one. It can stop hand traps if they don't have Nibiru. Let's say they got an Ogre or Veiler.
I just think it's kind of cool, right? Because like it's a form of negation you can make. Plus, it also has like the ideal arrows for you to still guard dragon combo. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. Like, combo's not dead. It's just people have to figure it out, the best way to play it. And the general population is just going to wait until somebody tops, right? They're going to be like, oh, this deck is insane because X, Y, and Z. And they found a way to play around Nibiru. One thing that was pretty interesting is I didn't see Pure Thunder. Maybe I wasn't looking hard enough, but
I saw a couple, but they weren't at like tables 1 through 10. They were more like the ones I saw were like tables 10 and like 30 as you saw them. But you saw a couple of them playing it. But like that's one of the reasons I didn't want to play it this weekend is because of the promos being released and the what was it? Dark Ruler or more, which I didn't see any around me when I was playing. But Dark Ruler or more, I thought it only stopped the activated effects. No, it skill drains the field. So it makes that deck really hard to play. Because if you play into a deck and get Dark Ruler no more, like, yeah, your opponent can't do damage to you, but all your Floodgate monsters and the best cards in your deck all get turned off for a turn.
Yeah, even if you had on Colossus Titan, like,
it doesn't.
Your opponent still can play safely unless you have a hand trap, which Pure Thunder is playing, right?
Yeah, that's the big benefit of playing Pure Thunder is you can play cards like you can play your hand traps, and you can also play what was it? You can play cards like Dynamiscus and stuff like that for your Orcust matchup. So
let me get our list pulled up here because I'm our resident Sky Striker player, and I played Dark Ruler no more, and you were playing Salamangreat, and you were playing Nibiru, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the only time I cited this card in was against the Dragon Link player round 3. And I didn't see it. Doesn't mean it's not good. Doesn't mean it was good. in theory, I would continue to play this card as a staple. I'm going second against combo, but other than that, like I felt Sky Striker did phenomenally. Like I took a draw because I got burned by Desires. Like it happens, whatever. And then I took a loss that I probably shouldn't have. I was getting really tired and I didn't really want to be there. Like it was a 9-round event. It was round 5, and I kind of just blew it. And I decided I was leaving before the match even started, to be honest. But I felt Striker was absolutely insane. Like it's not that hard. Like Cosmic Cyclone's almost nowhere to be found. The one time it was, I had double Lancia because he's an Orcus player. I Lancia'd him, chain Cosmic on my multi-roll, and I just Lancia'd again.
Easy.
Yeah, it was great. But that's what I felt like Dark Ruler No More was. I would play it again. I really want to see it. There's only 3 cards in the extra. How do you feel? Let me get your list up. There it is. All right. Yeah, so your side deck's pretty similar to what it has been, but you were playing 3 Nibiru, and you've shifted away from the control aspect of Salamangreat more towards the traditional side, I guess.
Yeah, it's just more focusing on doing your actual salad combo and then just grinding out the game.
So the noteworthy things is obviously 3 strike. I do want to talk about that in a minute, and then Nibiru. How do you feel like it overall performed?
So to me, the deck was. I thought the deck was really good. I thought was gonna go do really well with it. Because like my first 2 rounds, like I said, I started 2-0, but then like the next 2 rounds, like I was talking about, like I'm not entirely sure what happened, but I feel like I zoned out and I was just sitting there on cloud 9 for God knows how long. And I just didn't play to the best of my ability. Like I was kind of like you didn't want to be there, but like I was just like, I don't know, I was just kind of like lost, and like there was a lot of situations where there was stuff I could do and I didn't do it, and I was messing up my combos and stuff like that. So
yeah, I don't know what it was about Saturday. Like I just wasn't feeling it after like round 3. Like
yeah, because
I enjoyed playing. Like I liked sitting down and I liked talking to the guy across from me, but as far as actually like the best play I've ever had, like it definitely wasn't.
Right. That like that's how I felt. But in terms of what I do remember and stuff like that, when I was doing my actual matches and stuff like that, there was never a situation that I wanted to side in Nibiru, and I never did.
Yeah, you didn't play combo though.
I didn't play combo or anything that was combo related. I just like my deck can do something better than like Nibiru them and kill them.
Yeah,
and that's why I ended up doing a lot of
matchups.
Yeah, so my round 1, I played against a Paleo player who was main decking Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, and that honestly didn't matter because my opponent game 2, he Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwooded me. He did it to me game 1 and I lost because I didn't have enough gas and to like combo off, but he did it to me game 2 again, and like it just didn't matter because like his trap cards can only do so much to my monsters, and he ended up losing the match at that point. Because game 3, he just like opened 4 trap cards, none of them negations, and I opened evenly matched. Round 2 was the ABC Sky Striker player, and he could have won.
Oh yeah, he was not the best player I've seen.
He decided he was going to try to style on me because he wanted style points and wasn't paying attention to a clock. So I let him do all of his combos, and he timed himself out. So that was cool.
There was about 17 different ways he could have killed you,
and he just decided to do none of them. He just went like, "Oh, I'm gonna make Borlsar and Buster and kill you," and I'm like, "Okay, man, go for it." And then he timed himself out. So that was my round 2. Round 3, I played against a True Draco player, and this is where I started to zone out. Because there was a situation in game 1 where like I 100% could have won by popping his there can only be one, but like I said, when the stuff was happening, I just zoned out. And by the time I realized what I could have done, he had flipped the Monarchs Erupt, and that lost the game 1 for me. And then game 2, I was like super zoned in for that because like I was really pissed about punting away game 1. And he had straight drew a True Draco Apocalypse, causing me to lose the match at that point because he had another way to summon a monster on my turn, and I just lost the game from there. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And then my round 4, I played against a Necros player, which I just pissed the game away completely. Like, I'm over here like saying like doing the combos in my head, and then like as I'm physically doing them on the table, I'm just skipping steps. I tried like making a Heat Leo with only 2 card. Like it was just bad. Like I just straight punted both of those games away. And then I played one more round after that. I played against a Cyber Dragon player, and same thing. Like I'm just like not like I have Roar set, and the only way he beats me is like over Cyberload Fusion, and I'm just not negating it. I'm not hand trapping any of his cards, and I'm just kind of like sitting there daydreaming the entire time. But not a single one of those matches, I remember this, not a single one of them that I ever want to put Nibiru in against me. A lot of them were decks that had better advantages going second than going first, so I forced my opponent to go first, and they still sided in Nibiru, even though I thought they were better players than what I was giving them credit for, apparently. And, like, you know, like, a lot of those games I won because they just weren't ready to go first in a going second situation. They just weren't prepared. So.
Yeah, and then we left.
Yeah, and then we left. But, you know, hey, lunch was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, lunch was pretty good.
That Italian beef and sausage combo from Portillo's, A1.
So we're gonna take this past weekend's experience, and we got another regional in 2 weeks that we're actually gonna prepare for and play the game, because off season felt really long. Like I enjoyed just fucking off with like BA, but you know, I actually want to play as competitively as I can before Striker gets the axe.
I feel you on that one.
But let me go back to my list, see if there's anything notable. Ogre, only good against combo, and I guess Striker, but like I don't think Ogre's worth maining anymore. Bell.
I don't know. There's some situations I thought Ogre was really, really good, and there's some situations like it's a 50-50 card for me.
Ogre was good for me against True Draco, but that was after game 1, and I think I ogred the combo, the Dragon Link dude, at some point.
Those are decks that's cards really good against.
Yeah, and then Ghost Bell. I liked Ghost Bell because it was never dead against any matchup. Like there's no point in any deck where it's going to win you the game, but it is definitely going to make it awkward for your opponent. It was decent against Orcust. I hit Kagari a few times. What else? Other than that, Lancia is a staple. Orcus is probably going to be the most represented deck.
More than likely.
Shared Ride, never drew it in the mirror. I drew it against Dragon Link because I knew I was going first, and half the cards were useless. Oh. One thing I do want to mention is this Striker is still fucking insane.
Yeah, I saw a lot of Striker players playing, and like not just like average Striker players, but like the good Striker players. And like, as long as that deck's still playable, people are gonna play it. And like what it does, like it's simple, but like it's still like really, really potent. Like I honestly like that's still one of Salomon Great's toughest matchup is Striker.
And right now, with there can only be one being so good against the meta, like. Yes, Orcus, it's a little bit weird because they have so many one-card starters that it doesn't affect, but once they actually start combo, like, it hurts a lot. Salomon Great, it just, if they don't have an answer to it on the spot, it ends their turn. Obviously, Striker, don't play it against Striker. But combo, it fucks them up. Pendulum. With that in the deck, and it being... You know, the same engine we've known for, 18 months now? 19 months?
Yep.
It's super broken. I do want to say Shark Cannon. The reason I bumped that to 2 for my last list is I figured combo was going to be dead or less represented. And just DD Crow against Orcust or Salomon Great. Or I stole like 5 Kagaris in 5 rounds. I stole it twice against Orcust because engage and 2 drones, and then in the mirror match, if they don't ray effect into Kagari, it's busted.
I feel you on that one. Like, if you can cut them off from Ray, that's just great.
Oh, I got to go back to Joe's deck list real quick and just mention the Foxies were prismatic, the Call by the Graves were prismatic, and something else. I totally forgot what.
I'm looking at it right now because I have the Called by the Graves, the Salamangreat, Foxies.
Oh, the Heat Leos.
Oh, the Heat. Oh, bro, can we talk about how crispy this prismatic Heat Leo looks? Oh, yeah. My God. I'm in love.
So we got like 4 minutes left, and I do want to talk about how awesome it is to have that rarity in the game. Like, I don't think it's going to be in the main set, and I honestly don't think it should be, but it was super awesome for Konami to do that. They look gorgeous. It really put some, I don't know, something special behind the cards. Like Foxy deserved that fucking secret rare.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, because my Foxes were prismatic, I saw that card 100% more of the time than I should have, and it just made me feel undefeated, especially when I saw Sign at Mighty next to it.
Now, I really do wish that they didn't prismatic the Sky Striker links and gave Gazelle and Spinny prismatics, because I feel like they deserved it, and Sky Striker got alties already. But it is what it is. But I'm really glad they did that. It's super cool. This year's Megatins were absolutely insane. And I know we use that word about every other sentence, but this is probably my favorite product that's released in years.
All right. So, like, the last couple, like, sets that we've had and stuff like that have been straight L's. But these Megatins, solid W.
Yeah.
Solid.
Last year had some great, it was like back-to-back good sets. Like, nothing insane, but we had Sky Striker come out. We had just good Link monsters in sets that everybody wanted. We had all the Charmers, the Boral monsters, Saryuja. Like, we had good cards come out last year. But this year, yeah, like you've been saying, it's, oh, fuck, I need 2 cards out of this set, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You know, like, it's tough.
Now, what I do hope happens is Konami sees that alternate rarities for cards that people already have, like, they want those fucking cards. Like, I really wish we did it like the OCG with supers of the good cards as well as a high rarity of the good cards, right?
Never gonna happen.
It's not, but I wish we did, and I wish just like maybe not as extreme as the whatever prismatic rare from the last set with like the Appaloosa, the Win. Maybe not that extreme where it's like 1 in every 9 cases or something like that. Not that crazy, but if we can get one a case or 2 a case for something, maybe like old Ghost Rares or Alties, whatever, that would be really nice.
Be broken. It really would be.
All right, Joe, you got any final thoughts? We got about a minute and a half.
Combo's not dead. Just give it some time. Orcus to me is the best overall deck right now. Like, the best, especially with Gizmek and stuff like that, because I feel like they have so many ways to play around these cards now. And, Douglas French has no sauce, so I mean, like, everything's still round in the world.
Yep. I played 2 Orcus players, and not one of them was playing Gizmek. I asked after the round, and neither of them were playing it. I don't know why.
That's 100% incorrect. That is just 100% incorrect.
But I that can play through just about everything except Lancia. So maybe they just don't want to banish the resources. I don't play the deck. I think I'm going to start messing around with it just so I can play against it better.
That's definitely a good idea.
Guys, this has been episode 26, I think, of X2 Drop. Keep an eye out for next week's episode, or not next week's, in 2 weeks, after our second regional experience of the season. It should be pretty good. I don't know what Joe's going to be playing. I'm definitely going to be playing Striker. Any idea what you think you're going to be playing?
I'm either going to stick with Salad, or I'm going to bite the bullet and actually play Pure Thunder.
Okay. I'm going to mess around with Orchist and probably play Striker because it's the only thing I played for a year. But, guys, it's been fun. The Megatins were crazy, and I will see you guys next week.
Okay, bye.